Do you have any favorite commodities, or is it just as easy as you spend the most of your time on oil and gas because it's so big? Or do you have like small commodities you just love to follow and track? Or is it just like, I want to see everything all the time? Or do you have to focus on one commodity at a time? And how does the commodities interplay? Is there a great correlation all the time? Or is it like a pattern, a symmetry, or can it be all over the place at all
No,
costs?
they all have their life. It's like, first of all, I would say I love all my children the same. And then second, I would say, of course, oil and gas, such a massive sector, much larger than all the others combined, obviously gives you more investment capital allocation opportunity. And that's why we spend the most time there. We are stock pickers and hopefully long-term investors. And on that basis, it's a fantastic sector because with the same knowledge, you can look at 1,500 companies and you can fall in love with some and not with others. You have great management teams, great reservoirs out there that are misunderstood or not yet discovered by the market, and that's what we go for. So, but I would say they all have their own life, but funny enough, they all have been similarly badly treated for the last 10 years. I would say the last 10 years has seen the greatest shift ever from what I would call the real world into, the metaverse kind of world, the tech world. That shift has hurt every single commodity without a doubt. And we have to be honest too. I mean, on average, many capital investments in commodities are misrepresented and turn out to be too optimistic and turn out to be bad capital allocation. This was true for the entire US shale patch in the United States for between 2010 and 2020. They've lost an enormous amount of shareholder value through good money after bad for literally 11 years. And so people were fed up to even look at it. But so here we are.
Given that you invest in commodities and try to find great companies, can we just go one sector abroad? And if you look at it as an investor, could you also just be an asset allocation play on the different commodities that now we're bullish on oil and we're short on nickels, etc.? What's the difference between, having an asset allocation mindset versus a stock picking mindset? Because you could maybe do both, but it has different trade-offs, right?
Yeah, you should do both, right? You should not just. It's what we do is, look. I started my career firstly a little bit in investment banking, and then went operational, and then went back into private equity and public equity capital allocation. And so a total of 25 years and about at least 12 in capital allocation. And why do I say that? Because in private equity, you come from a very strong, let's look at the micro perspective. And you focus on this and what can we improve and how can we make this flower beautiful? And that is pretty much what I learned a lot, and I like that too. As you know, in Petrotal, we are in that situation now where I totally love our position, but I see opportunity for improvement. Okay. Now, that's not enough. So I took a sector, then obviously we understand, let's stick with oil for a moment, but we can absolutely talk about all sorts of others. And in fact, I'd love to talk about others too. But in 17, we started to look at we always look at the sector of oil, but we started to see issues coming in the oil sector already. In 2018, we were convinced we have a supply issue to come here. And for many reasons, we published it. People want to go on Seeking Alpha. That's where we published a paper, and it was widely discussed and so on. Even came in the Financial Times. Okay, because at that time everyone was still very bearish oil, and then it turned out we were a little early, not the least because of this COVID. Fair enough. I mean, COVID changed the demand side. It was a demand shock that we have never seen, nothing close to it. In 2008, we lost something like 1 million barrels. The deepest recession the world has ever seen, the great financial crisis. And in COVID, we lost something like, no one knows exactly, but about 22 million barrels from being restricted to move. So it was just a massive shock to the system, and therefore caused a lot of damage to the sector one more time. But anyway, already back in 2018, we were rather bullish and were actually positioned that way. And then came 2018 Q4. Trump did a little trick there, you know, in the geopolitics of oil, in the discussion with Iran, and gave them said to the Saudis, by the way, we need more oil, pump. You remember oil prices went up back then. Then he gave the waiver to Iran, so therefore the Iran oil was also suddenly available. So suddenly the physical market wasn't so tight. And then Powell also increased interest rates, to which I thought, so what, 25 basis points, but in this financial system that is highly leveraged, it matters. And then we had this massive collapse of oil from 94 something to 50. Now positions, we had a fantastic year so far, then suddenly got hammered in November and certainly so in December. And I was like, wow, what am I doing here? You know, with my private equity stock picking thinking, you know, I need to improve my game, right? I have a blind eye. And so we invested a lot of time into Marco. And rightly so, and not ourselves so much, but finding the right partners for us to advise us on Marco and on a daily basis. And that's what I do today. And so I'm extremely macro aware because I think it's important. At the same time, you need to be sector aware. You really need to understand the fundamentals of the sector, and then you need to be company aware. And that combination, I think, makes for good allocation for over a period of time. And you can also risk manage those positions then better than when you are macro unaware, because the cycles or the mini cycle, the within cycles of a cycle can be so enormous that you want to manage that risk a bit.